The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions.
Panther fans unite! My name's Tony Dunn. Cody Lashney, how you doing? CK's in the house. How you doing, my friend? The Stat Daddy.
But I think Derek Brown, hey man, he deserves that dab on him pick.
Dab on him, Phil Snow. Dab on him.
All the same, yeah, 100%. We can just
Mine is going to go to the fullback. I'm going to dump on the Richie guy. Dab on him, Shaq.
I'm going to put the towel on Matt Rule.
Y'all took all the good ones.
Only one postgame roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers postgame show.
Welcome back to another week of the same. The Carolina Panthers fall again, 21-18. They could use 5 quarters to get their offense going. They need 5 plays to get a first down, it feels like, late in the game. And just when you think there's a little bit to build on, they can't really turn it into a win. The Carolina Panthers fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today, 21-18 in the first game without Frank Reich. Chris Tabor, interim coach. Somewhat competitive game for overall a good stretch. Unable to stop Mike Evans at all in this game, but the Carolina Panthers were able to run the ball some. Bryce Young had some moments where he looked pretty good. And, man, there was some fireworks as Brian Burns got kicked out of the game. It's the C3 Panthers postgame show brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, and I'm here with Cody Lash to figure it all out.
Dude, Tony Dunn, I'm gutted right now, man. They had me believing at the very end that we were going to pull out a W. But on 3rd and 1, the Carolina Panthers, who were running the football effectively all day, Chuba Hubbard went for over 100 rushing yards. They don't feel the need to rush the ball one time for 1 yard, but the game on the line, your season on the line, dude, it's all the way terrible. Then on top of that, the 2 throws that Bryce Young did make were wildly off the mark at the very end there. Dude, it's embarrassing, man. I don't know that we expected any different, but this Panther team will find new ways to upset us every single time, man. As always, we're here to be your shoulder to cry on, your ears to listen to your pain. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. Happy to be back with y'all.
The number's 252-228-5098. While the Carolina Panthers, I think, got their first 100-yard rusher of the season. Chuba Hubbard, 25 attempts, 104 yards, 17-yard long run, and was his longest on the day, and 2 touchdowns. And while the defense has kept this team in games really throughout the season, holding the opponents to 21, they struggled today with the big plays against Mike Evans. 7 catches, 162 yards, a 75-yard bomb at one point, and it turned into a Superman touchdown. CK, the Carolina Panthers are now 1-11. And right now is this somehow, are they, please say they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs after today?
Oh, yeah.
They are officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Thank goodness.
And so not having that on the table will make the rest of this season feel that much more pointless, which is also another reason why it makes no sense to continue to leave Bryce out on the field in these horrible conditions. I just don't think it's doing him any good. He can't progress. He's not going to be able to get better in the conditions that he's dealing with right now. and until you've got a coach and a supporting cast to be able to offer him what he needs to be successful in the NFL, I think at this point in time you've got to put Dalton in there in the hopes that one of two things: whether you're a Bryce guy, you're hoping that Dalton does horribly, and you can then point back to see even he's having trouble. But if he does well, you can point to see it was Bryce the whole time. If you're a Bryce hater, so at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody involved to put Dalton in the lineup, mainly for Bryce's health and his hopefully his sanity.
Mr. Strat says we sound mopey, and I feel mopey, to be honest. He said this was the best game of the season. We're going to win 2 more with Tabor. Crazy how your best game of the season still isn't the one win you had, I guess, in that case, which I don't know. I think the Houston game has to be the game of the season just because it is the single win. The Panthers were not entirely. They didn't look disorganized today under Coach Tabor. What did you guys think about Tabor's debut as as the interim head coach?
Well, I really do feel like he took a page out of the Steve Wilkes playbook of last year and really decided that they were going to be more aggressive running the football. Yet again, the defense kept us in this game. Baker Mayfield, like we expected, was not very accurate. Dante Jackson made some plays. Even J.C. Horn was benched during the course of this game.
Was he? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he was benched, and he wasn't injured, wasn't hurt, but J.C. Horn was indeed benched. That one touchdown in the third quarter made by Mike Evans, there was just no safety help shaded over in his direction. Overall, the entire game was like the Panthers could not get out of their own way. We still cannot pass protect for any length of time. But when we were able to run the football, we were able to sustain some drives. And Tony, I'm telling you, man, you're going to have to put some respect even more on the name Chuba Hubbard, dude. He's the best running back on the team. He's been picking up these.
He's arguably the best offensive player right now, to be honest.
Dude, he's fighting for extra yards, and I don't know what exactly Chris Tabor and his coaching staff were going to do differently passing the ball. They have no help on the perimeter, but they were able to effectively run the football. And then let's be real, Bryce Young did not play well again today. He had some passes that were on the mark, and he was able to put them, hit a few guys in stride, but they weren't targeting Adam Thielen a lot at all. And especially at the end there was some plays where Bryce had some guys that were open, but he stays stuck on that first read, and it isn't coming off of him, and he's just not seeing the field well. I'm worried that the longer we leave him out there, the longer we're going to hurt his development down the road. So it was an up and down day, but not a bad day for Tabor overall, I don't feel. It was competitive most of the day.
I think we got to see some good Bryce, though, for real. Is that like when he ran to the end zone, was that a touchdown or was that a 2-point conversion? That was a 2-point conversion, right?
Yeah.
With the little spin and the kind of a little swag, a little drip on that play. And you saw him smile. And that was probably the first time I've seen him smile and make a football happy play all season in many ways, other than the other good plays being ones of relief. CK is, I feel like for this team, really, it just continues to be a lot of the same, right? And if we looked at Bryce Young's play, I would say the same. And that is under duress continuously to the point where even when he's not under duress,
he's frustrated or he's flustered.
Yeah. And it seems that it has, it's just like he can't get a rhythm. He can't play with any real confidence. So there's moments where he does these things, but it also is in his head. It really feels like, and not in his head like it's fake, but like you could tell that this is challenging for him to overcome.
I think it's challenging in a couple of different ways. I do think that he's looking for his receivers to be college open. And I just don't know that he's going to get that. Again, that is, when you look at Mike Evans today, he's college open, right? To be fair, there are receivers and there is going to be a skill set when you have a good offensive scheme that will have your receivers college open. Ours is we're barely getting open in the NFL. I know we're saying that he's missing open wide receivers, just like every single quarterback. If they're going through their first read and they see a look that they like, they're going to go that way. I'm not even necessarily blaming that. I will say one of the arguments that I had, when you look at the freeze frames and you see that they're missing, there's just no separation. And they were harping on it all game long, the commentators. When you look at that and, people were saying you should have thrown it there. I mean, number one, when you look at a lot of those games, like they were saying that Mingo and Chark were actually open. In all honesty, they weren't. If you look at that in full speed, those DBs were literally jogging to keep up with these guys. They weren't going full tilt. So you throw it to them. My argument, for to throw it to those guys is let your guys try to get it. It's 3rd and long. You got to throw the ball up and just hope that they can get the contested catch. The guy you threw it to on the right side over there was 86. Was that Sullivan? He was not open at any point, and throwing it to him was a bad decision. So I think you should have thrown it to the guys who had the best chance throwing it down, and it's not, those guys were not open. Don't get it wrong. A lot of people are saying they had their routes beat. They did not. When you look at it on the actual film in full speed, they were not open, but they were more open than the guy they threw it to. So you throw it that way and let them try to go up and get it.
I think, again, more of the same, right? Really, for me as a fan, seeing the same things and the same tropes, the same strength or the same weaknesses in so many ways. You find this is, again, more of the same. The Panthers continuously in 3rd and long positions. One, because they either can't be effective in early downs or they get a penalty that puts them backwards, right? And they just don't have the luxury of doing that. More of the same, continued just beat up offensive line, where the offensive line just looks like they are overpowered and outmatched on 80-90% of the snaps. More of the same. We're going to go to Twitter and we're going to find a million screenshots. Half of them are going to be ones of people, what is Bryce supposed to do? And they'll circle all the wide receivers with the DBs on them, right? It's like, what do you want them to do? And then you will see another set of screenshots that will show open people and him running around trying to save his life or make it, so it's just more of the same. Nothing. Did we, I'm just kind of interested at what point are we learning more about what we got on this team? And if anything, I think we should be we should be happy that Jonathan Mingo finally had his best game.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I mean, look, I go through the comments every time we do a post-game show. And today you can really see the visible contempt for the way Bryce Young played. There's a lot of people that are upset, specifically with his with the last play of the game and the way he threw that ball and just threw it up for grabs. Nirvash with the $5 says Bryce completed 48% of his passes for 178 yards, 0 touchdown, and 1 interception. He had a few good throws, I guess, but threw a game-losing, horrible interception, man. Panther Gal with the $2 says, this is Tepper is why we can't have nice things. And the Paisan says Tommy Cutlets DeVito would have won us this game. Tony, I feel like the sentiment now is starting to turn against Bryce. Before, there were a lot of defenders saying, yeah, everything around him is terrible. The O-line is terrible. And, everything is terrible on this team.
It is.
But not right. And when you're 100%, and you know what? Today was the another game where they're literally pausing the game, showing the amount of separation that our receivers are getting and pointing it out for the world to see. Granted. But our quarterback right now is consistently making plays that are of a detriment to this offense, man. I mean, especially that play at the very end And also the number of balls that he'll put up, that it looks like he's just throwing it out of bounds. Like he's not even attempting to drive the ball in the right window. I don't know, man. I feel like right now there's a lot of heat coming for number 9.
Look, as Bryce has, I feel like, when Bryce actually makes his best throws is when he's running forward. Like he's running into the throw. It's like he gets some good whip action or something on it when he's moving forward, directly forward, and almost a run. But I saw, now I don't know if you guys got to peek at any other games today. I had the red zone on, and I saw who's the mayonnaise quarterback?
Levis.
Him and DeAndre getting mad at each other.
Yeah, that was weird.
DeAndre Hopkins. He's not having, I think DeAndre is saying, what the hell is that ball? It's wild, though. And again, arm strength, arm talent is not anyway the measurement for success alone in the NFL. But Will Levis flicked that ball with his wrist like 60 yards, dude. Just like, dang. I mean, and I don't think you're going to have real moments. I don't think you'll have a moment in your life with Bryce Young as a quarterback where you're like, damn, what a fucking throw. I mean, maybe it would be just because of precision, timing, and different things. But so do you feel that there is a continued growth in discomfort with Bryce Young as the quarterback in the selection for the Panthers' future?
Yeah, I mean, in the chat room and on Twitter, man, a lot of people that have been Bryce defenders are coming down on him hard in a game like today. My thing is, though, where has this been? It's not like Bryce has played any better earlier before, and now you're expecting, after you fire a head coach, that now all of a sudden Bryce and this team are going to look better. No, this is why me and CK have been calling for Bryce Young to sit on the bench, let him learn and grow from the sideline, and let Andy Dalton take over play calling. I mean, it doesn't take a quarterback guru to look at Bryce and know that he's staring down his first read most of the time.
Right.
Now, if you want to say that's on his protection and it just doesn't trust what's around him, fine. That's even further evidence that you need to Bryce him, because now he's gun shy, man.
Bench him. You said Bryce him.
Dude,
that's awesome.
Dude, I'm saying he is at the point now where I feel like you're putting bad traits on him, and he's going to continue to learn these bad traits the more you're putting him in this situation.
Right.
I thought the team, but this team did not look less than this week than they were last week and the week before. So, I mean, look, we got the run game going. I don't know if, look, this was Thomas Brown. On one hand, you guys are saying the play calling sucks. And then your other hand, you're telling me that Tabor's got them embracing their identity more. Or maybe we just got to play a team that's bad also and had a little success against them.
I mean, you could look at that. This defense, the thing is there's not much outside of their linebackers. This is actually a pretty good defense. And so to even have any, we got to keep in mind, this was Antoine Winfield is the one that got that interception. He's considered one of the better defensive backs in the league, right? Secondary players in the league. So, I don't want to take away what the offense did today. But I think what I will say, and everybody's going to point to this defense and they're going to say, they held the offense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to this and to that. I think today when we took the lead, I think we saw exactly what's going to happen when teams are playing us when they're behind. Our defense isn't going to be able to hold up.
Right.
Like when they have to catch up, they can. And that's
was
the
it
thing
the
that
first play after we scored?
It was the back-to-back scores.
You're right. That's a good point, CK, has the defense almost looked better than it is because they haven't had to face the full wrath of a team's offense because they can basically play with 10 guys and win the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to do anything on defense at all.
I mean, every game, the announcers are talking about how the corners, they just sit down on everything because they know that we have nothing that's going to beat them over the top. They don't even fear it. They play everything close to the vest. They get a lot of pressure. This offensive line is still not pass protecting well. Dude, the more and more that we see of this football team, it is an indictment on Scott Fitterer, in my opinion. This offense is bereft of talent. We have none, man. Like there are no high-level offensive linemen. There are no high-level receivers. And right now we have a 5'10 quarterback, 195 pounds, and even some of his ardent defenders are now starting to turn on him. It's bad right now, man. Hey, a couple of these yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, what do you think about VZU's comment? He said this. We lost by 3. Y'all chill. First, I feel mopey, so I don't feel like I'm definitely going over hard in here. One of the things about the I don't know about that. I guess that comment first, it doesn't bother me. I'm just saying it's like, is every loss equivalent? And I think no. I mean, if you could say that in week 1, we lost by 3. You could see that in week 5 and say, oh, chill, we lost by 3. But the team is 1-11. We've lost 11 times. And whether it's by 3 or 23, it doesn't matter. If we would have won by 3 or won by 23, we would have said it mattered. And what this did is it went as another L in the column. And really, unsurprised, really let me down, guys. Let me down in my pick'ems because I picked the Carolina Panthers to win this game because interim head coaches have historically a very good track record. Like the team gets a bounce for some reason after they get rid of their coach. This team looked arguably the same, ran the ball a little bit better, but I think they played a bad team as well, or a team that's not very good. I mean, this team is this division. They said this is that think about this is that whoever wins this division is probably going to host the Dallas Cowboys.
I know, dude, that's why. And then you have Atlanta. They're atop the division right now, but I mean, we had the chance to, at least be a thorn in the side of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I think today Tampa Bay probably, even though they have Mike Evans, it represented the worst offense that the Panthers had to play this year. I mean, I really do feel that way. Like they had nothing for us offensively, and you just knew
they haven't been able to run the ball this year as a team. Mike Evans has made big plays. Baker is Baker. No,
also throwing intercept. I mean, he's the same old Baker Mayfield that we ever thought that he was. And again, they find something of a rhythm running the football. And then it just baffles me that on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, you have not been having any success throwing the football. And you have a 100-yard rusher on the team today, and you don't think to run the football? Dude, how about this? Thomas Brown, he might have needed to be the one to go and not Josh McCown. How about that, man? Come on, dude. Run the ball, man. What are you doing?
Well, I think it was a hard position, and I could see why they didn't run the ball there. 3rd and 1, you're trying to pick it up. You're trying to almost think this is, are we going to end up punting the ball or going for it? Now, if it would have been a clear, we're in 4-down territory, right? Like this is 4 downs no matter what. There's no thought in our mind that punting could be an option. Then you run the ball on 3rd, you try to pick it up, and you get in a 4th and 1, and maybe you can then probably go a pass or be in a position where you could try to run the ball again. But that kind of, they didn't really know what they wanted to do, I don't think entirely, is you had 3 timeouts. They had 3 timeouts. Were you interested in trotting your defense out there and hopefully getting a stop? I feel like, though, everything, the momentum of every occasion this season has just been like it's going to take all 4 downs every time to get a 1st down, and it's going to take all minutes of all games to score any points that could potentially get you in this game. So, I mean, I don't know, is that you're probably thinking there, and that's tough. You know, you're a tough situation.
Can
Interim
you
head
remember
coach.
seeing a shittier offense than this? Like, honestly, like what football team do you remember that was like, oh my God, they have
This is the
no
2010
semblance of an
Panthers.
offense?
2010 Panthers were like this.
But were they this bad?
Oh, they were terrible, dude. But you knew they were going to be terrible, right? You expected them to be terrible, and I guess you expect. Look, the Saints beat us at home in 2010, 33-3, dude. This team, they were
I hear you.
stinky. They were stinky. This team but that team didn't also have ultimately, or was intended to be. They're going to get the number 1 draft pick the next year.
Right. We're not.
We weren't intended to be 1-11 this year. We might not have intended to be a playoff team, but we didn't intend to be 1-11 at this point.
Yeah. Roosevelt Mongo with the $5 says Bucks needed to get right game, and they got it. Guess who else needs to get right game? The Saints, and there's a high chance that they get it next week.
Is it next week? All right. How about we go ahead and take some calls? The number's 252.
Two more donos. Mr. Stratz says, can we praise Tabor for acting like he cares on the sideline and showing some emotion? He didn't even have to call any plays and seemed more engaged. Yeah, I 100% think so. I think Tabor showed emotion too, which is something you haven't seen much. Jerry with the 999 says, how was the OL? Didn't see much of the game. Trevor Lawrence had more interceptions, less touchdowns, less passing yards, less passer rating than Bryce after 11 games. Well, Trevor is also 6'5", 225 pounds. So,
well, I mean, so what he's saying is this is other maybe profile picks have struggled, and that was also your guy. So I mean, we got to give the opportunity for Bryce to, you know, is that these 11 games aren't the only 11 games that he will have to determine his legacy in Carolina. But let's answer his question about the offensive line. I would say typically offensive today. You know, no more offensive than it's been all season, no less.
Right.
I don't feel like, I don't know. I think the Panthers were able to run the ball enough to where they're really, is that the Panthers offensive line shows you how bad they are, but when it's clear that they're going to have to pass protect. And if you're in 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 7, these teams know that they really know 2 things. Is one, that there's no receiver out here that you're scared of, right? Is that even, and DJ Chark is the biggest letdown out of all of this, because if you talk about no separation, this is a guy who's been in the league now 4 years, I think. And he should be better than a straight line runner only. Yeah. It looked like he ran a good route today on the one that he got open, right? And Bryce hit him on that kind of deep ball, right? You saw that one. They said it was a little thrown behind him or whatever, but he made a cool double move. But Chark can't get off the line quick enough. So these defenses, and so it just takes so long for him to gain separation. It's just not there early to where it's clear that he's going to win the route. So these defenses know that their defensive fronts are going to have 3 seconds before this play even gets close to unfolding. So in a 3rd and 7, everybody feels comfortable. The secondary feels comfortable that they have the ability to maintain long enough until the defense hit home, until the defensive line hits home, and then throw in that. I've seen the commentators 2 weeks in a row talking about Bryce's difficulty at this point in dealing with the blitz.
Yeah, dealing with the blitz and how the Panthers have no answer for
no hot routes. Is this true? Do you really have an offense where that's not built in, or are these guys just not veteran enough, both on the receiving side and on maybe the quarterback side and experience
Well, we've
to
even
take
talked
advantage
about
of
this.
those things?
We've even talked about this before, Tony. They don't use any motion. All the receivers get up to the line. They run deep into their route, stop and turn around, and sit down on everything. There is no innovative play calling in this offense at all. I wish there would be a lot more motions and shifts. It's just boring. Even if you don't have a lot of speed talent at the receiver position, there are ways that you can scheme them open. And that's just not happening for the Panthers at all, man. Like, absolutely at all. I wanted to ask y'all's opinion on this. What do we make of Brian Burns throwing a punch and getting ejected from this game, man? I mean, a lot of us have been wanting for him to step it up. And at the end of this game, you're not even available because you're busy throwing punches at a dude wearing a helmet. Come on, man.
Not even looking at you, really? Like, it felt like
it was a cheap shot.
Yeah, it was wild. Listen, I think that first game, there was a lot of people saying that his price went up. I think the season has gone on. This price is continuing to diminish. I just don't think that you have the ability to say you're a top defensive end in this league. And it may not be of any consequence of his own. That action, obviously, he took today was his own fault. But beyond that, I mean, I think doing things like that are only going to hurt your chances of getting the contract you want in the future. Not even just from us, but from other future suitors for Brian Burns.
Well, one thing is, a couple of things with Brian Burns today. One I could say is, and I'm sure that I guess we get it's like an either or. Like, you either got to defend Brian Burns and his playability, or we got to be critical of. You would say this is I'm sure he would tell you that was a poor decision, a boneheaded mistake that cost his team. That did not help his team in any means. People who are trying to understand it, I'm sure, would or rationalize these things. You're going to point to is like, you can't imagine how frustrated a player like Brian Burns could be or is in this situation like this, where part of your success in financially is beyond your control because you're on a shitty team, and that and that the season's not going well, and you see these other players on other teams making money, having success, having fun, and you think that we would assume he believes he's doing everything in his power and believes he's doing everything in his power to earn that contract. And it's just like, man, I can't do it alone. So I'm sure the frustration is there to that degree. I would say, when just your final comment on Brian Burns is his money going down? I think right now is that the most money he's going to be able to make is with the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
And that is, number one, they need him more than other teams need him. Number two is that because this team has been bad, and even getting out in a game like this is, you got to have every game to pad a sack on those stats. So when these guys are looking at the end of the season as they're approaching free agency, that the numbers match the numbers. And so, like, the only team that's going to see Brian Burns in the light of a player who is a really good player on a bad team who could be more, that's only the Carolina Panthers and their fans. No other team is going to care about the last 5 years of how the Carolina Panthers have been.
Right.
And I feel sorry for Brian Burns and be like, oh, sure, you're better than Hassan Reddick. You just don't have any help. Nobody else is going to do that but the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So Brian Burns is losing money, and probably, and sadly in his case, is probably, if he doesn't want to lose the most money, probably would have to consider reaching an agreement with the Carolina Panthers. And then you wonder, was them playing hardball the right thing to do financially? So who knows? Cody, I'd like to take a couple of cat calls when we get a chance. The number's 252-228-5098. We've got 300 50 people watching the stream, up close to 400 at one point. We really appreciate you guys' time, energy. Take a seat on the C3 therapy couch. The copay for C3 therapy is smashing the thumbs up button, please. Subscribing or calling in and contributing to the conversation. Hi, I'm a Panthers fan, and it sucks at times, but we're here together. 252-228-5098. Cody Lack, let's go.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, guys? It's Chase Benson. It's halftime. I doubt I get the call after the game. So, Bryce Young's helmet, I think it's just too big or too loose. He moves his head, and the helmet keeps flopping back and forth. I think that's his problem. It's throwing him off balance. I mean, watch when he nods his head or moves his head, it's still bobbing around even after he quits moving. Tighten that thing up, son.
They can't find the helmet small enough.
Brian Burns is non-factor. I guess he's a non-factor for the rest of the game because he only plays like half of the first quarter. Let's see. My goal for the rest of the season, now that Frank's gone, is just not to let Chicago have the first pick from our pick, which I doubt that's going to happen too.
Who do we got? Who is the only way to do that is to what? Win 4 games?
No. You have the Patriots who've won 2.
Okay, Patriots are 2.
Yeah, Patriots have won 2.
Because Arizona's 3. Chicago, I think, is probably 3 because we were one of them. The Commanders were one of them. They had 2 wins coming against us. So
right.
You're going to have to lose. You have to win 2 more, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Numbers 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
What's going on, C3? It is your number 1 fan from Idaho calling in again. I'm calling in at halftime. I already know how this game's going to end. Tony, you talked about how this team, you cannot want this team. You cannot have this team or think this team is going to score a touchdown at any given time. And it just goes to show you we need pass interference and defensive holding just to march down the field. I said I wasn't going to watch this game because this team is like that fucking terrible wreck on I-85. You're like, why are all these people just go through the traffic? And you get up to that wreck and you're like, I gotta slow down and look at this thing. This is a terrible disaster. And you know what it looks like, but you gotta slow down and watch anyway. That's what this team is this year. It's gonna be a long haul, and I wanted to see what you guys' thoughts were. I was talking about a month ago about front office. What the hell is Sullivan doing? We need to gut the scouts. Clearly, the scouts are not doing our team service. But, I didn't want to – I'm not about receipts either. And I don't want to call you out, Tony, but, we – and CK and all of us, me included – we talk about, like, what are we going to do next year? We're going to get this guy and this guy and this guy. I mean, even D from Sanford, that guy's the most positive person ever. And he's talking about burning this shit down.
All right.
At this point, it's what do we do? Do we just sign some one-hit wonders next year and, trade J.C. Horn for a 3rd-round pick? Trade Burns for a 2nd-round pick, just accumulate 12 second and 3rd and 4th-round picks and bundle those and go get some guys. Like, I don't know, man. We're looking at like 2026 because we're relatives. This is brutal.
That's the scary part about it.
Guys, I love what you do. C3 is the best part of Panthers football.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Cody. Well, I think that's worthy of addressing here. Look, is to his point about the Panthers are terrible. They haven't scored more than 20 points in 6 weeks in the last 6 games. The last time they scored over 20 points was against the Dolphins, 42-21, October 15th. It has been a month and a half since they scored 20 points. And that's how it does feel. It's like when he said, hey, at no point do you feel like this team can score, right? It's like if they do move the ball and score, you're like, holy shit, wow.
Great job.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Wow. You guys did what you were. Wow. Like the fact that we were excited that we've gotten 2 offensive touchdowns for the first time since that Dolphins game. It's wild to me. Like we're just like so excited. We're like, oh my God, the offense is doing way better. It's doing twice as good as it's always done. It's ever done. It's a laughing stock, honestly.
So to his point is this is the most unsettling part most unsettled I've been as a Panthers fan since I've been doing this podcast, because I don't have a firm opinion about how to proceed. Right. Is like, and he asked the question is, what do you do? You know, what? And I think is that you have to believe this is that you're really in a 2025, 2026 before you're going to be beyond better than bad. Right. It's like, I don't see next year all of a sudden that this is just a breath of fresh air. You know, you can go ahead and sign yourself up for a 5-win season at best, you would think.
You know, honestly, the more that we talk about it, it pisses me off that we didn't trade away Brian Burns. Why is he still on this team? Why? If you're going to commit to building around your quarterback, why not give up whatever you need to put players and pieces around him?
Right.
Like, based on what we've seen the past couple of years, how confident is anyone that Fitterer is going to do enough in free agency or through the draft to get enough talent on this team next year to be able to compete?
Well, no one's confident.
You haven't really proven that you've been able to hit on any picks outside of the first round. You don't have a first round pick. I just don't know what this team does, man. I really don't.
And the difficult part about it, I think this is what I have to hope. If this is what I would do if I was the Panthers, I think this is my plan, but I'm not even firmly attached to it, is I think you do try to nail the head coach down for a guy that you believe that you're going to give more time to than 1 year. I mean, that would be the hope. And then you slow and steady build it. And what I mean by that is next year work to build an offensive line. Right. And that be basically the ultimate priority is to build an offensive line that is not only talented enough to compete and put your quarterback in a decent situation to be successful, but also an offensive line that you can continue to build to stay strong and get stronger the following year. And then I think you're trying to, on the other side of the ball, probably just piecemeal some good players that you can find that will be contributors for a year, for a couple of years, even if that's find him 1 5th-round pick that just all of a sudden doesn't have to be a star, but a guy that can be on the team for more than 1 year. And then I think you have to just recognize that next year is going to not have a lot of wins. And the only win you have is that if you can improve that offensive line and then get Bryce playing with a little bit more confidence. And then I think the following year you start to maybe add offensive pieces, weapons at that point, and hopefully try to continue to find some good players that can be contributors in the draft. So what are we at, 2025 by that point? And then 2026 could be good.
Oh, God.
That's tough.
What the hell, man?
That's tough. No, that sounds tough.
Dude, yeah,
the only
dude,
reason I'm not tied to that plan is because I have one other fear. it's like that also kind of contends on you getting a coach that you believe in, will have enough patience, that you then have all of this. So there almost is another idea. Do you lean into a tank next year? Do you basically throw away the season and only hire a 1-year coach? Basically what we secretly did this year. So then you can then give your brand new coach, your brand new GM, the proper tools in the following season with a top draft pick and potentially a vision of improvement.
But
that's scary too.
But let me tell you what's even scarier under that scenario that you just laid out. If Bryce doesn't show you any development next year, let's say that we're picking top 5 in 2025 and there's a quarterback available. Like, are we talking about redoing this whole thing already? Like that's what's absurd, man. You're not going to be able to truly evaluate Bryce Young as a prospect until next year.
Not even that. I mean, if
you don't even know what's around them.
If we're talking about getting rid of the pieces and like trying to do a strategic tank from the front office perspective, you may not even be able to honestly be able to give him a proper scouting report on how he's done in the NFL until
another season
until the
of this
third year. Yeah, like so that's the problem with that idea of tanking next year is you're basically making it impossible for you to make a decision on Bryce Young this early.
You can't do any of this without a GM you don't believe in.
Right, and we don't have that.
You know, and I don't even mean that that we believe is good, but that you believe is the guy that can make these decisions. Because how do we make the decision to get the coach that we're going to give time and hope, like the first plan I put out there? Or how do you make the decision to tank when you don't have, or, you know, strategically tank with the idea of trading away assets next year, basically hoping to maybe build a little offensive line and see if Bryce is going to develop at all. But you can't do that if you don't believe that the GM and you're in the place is the GM of the future.
Yeah.
You need the guy who has the vision, or a vision, not the vision, a vision, and a strong plan, a strong opinion on how to best proceed. If it's plan A, plan B, or C, you need that guy to make the decision this year.
Well, apparently Federer has been told that his job is not guaranteed to him beyond this year.
Well, we don't know that he's been told that. He's not been made assurances. We've basically been told. He hasn't been told that he's safe, essentially, is what the reports are saying.
So then, Tony, would you, when I see I'm interrupt, I'll ask all of you, would you feel more like, what is more important coming up? The next GM hire or the next coaching hire? Because I feel like the GM is probably more important.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy that picks the coach, or has or believes in the coach. You can't continue to just piece together different. You can't have an Italian chef, a Chinese food pantry, and an Irish person writing the menu. Like, and that is what we have, is like, if Tepper is going to hire people, you have to have a restaurant that has a pantry full of Italian food, an Italian chef, and a guy who wants to, and whoever makes the menu has to want to make an Italian meal.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, would you like to hear from Brian Burns as to why he threw a punch?
Sure.
All right. Here is Brian Burns.
The lineman said something in the beginning that he shouldn't have said to me and Marquise. So ever since then, I was pretty much on 10. I was mad. And then, some events happened. We got scored on. My bad. We got scored on. Game wasn't going our way. Initially, it wasn't even my fight. I just got, pushed, and then I turned around and reacted.
So apparently the dude that he swung on wasn't even the dude that said the wild shit to him either.
It's basically lost. He's on tilt, dude. He's on tilt. He lost it. I wonder, was that fans calling in at 252-228-5098? Was that satisfactory of a response to you guys about why Brian Burns made that decision, and did it really matter? Did the team look any worse without him?
No.
Oh,
I mean, we didn't look better or worse.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
that's crazy.
I mean, that was the one after that. I mean, you got to keep in mind we held them to like basically what did they score on their second drive, and then we held them scoreless until like the fourth quarter. And then the drive after, he got ejected on the drive that was the punch, like that 75-yard touchdown pass to Evans. The drive after that, they drove down and scored another 7 points in a meticulous way, right? So yeah, I think you can be angry because had he not done that, he could have been in there for that drive. And where you may not think he had an impact on the game, defenses do play him differently. And so now that he's not in there, that was a different defense or offense than we see from them the entire game.
All right, let's go back to the calls.
Hello, guys. Let me ask you a serious question. How is it possible that on the Carolina Panthers' entire offense, including offensive linemen, how is it possible that Chuba Hubbard is our best offensive player? And counting quarterbacks, how is that possible? Because he's a guy you can depend on. You can't depend on nobody else. Bryce Young's lined up in shotgun for like the 9,000th time this season. I mean, but let's blame it all on everybody else. So it makes everybody happy that way. You know, it's never Bryce's fault. It's always everybody else's fault.
Nobody ever says that.
You can't blame it on Bryce. He ain't here no more. I vote we blame it on Thomas Brown. He's
They
a good
do
guy.
on Twitter.
So y'all have a good one, and we'll catch you later.
Don't tell me no. I'm fighting them right now. There are still people that are saying that, what did you expect Bryce to do behind this terrible line? That Bryce wasn't the issue of the offense today. He may not be the biggest, but he's been an issue every single game that he's played.
So the overwhelming majority of people will put blame on Bryce. And those people you're talking about aren't, I would venture to guess, and I could be wrong, there are probably some vapid people out there, and there's people out there like we see in the chat who say it's all on Bryce. It's not the case. It's a middle of the ground. Everybody's terrible, right? And I think the majority of fans on either side can see that. And so to say that everybody it's not, if you're speaking to the 3% of fans who actually believe that Bryce Young has no fault in this, then, you're not talking to intelligent people anyway. Might as well not give them the time of day. But if you're talking to the 80% of people that believe that Bryce has culpability, but is not the primary reason this team is not being successful, then I don't think you can say that, everybody is arguing that's a Bryce fan.
I think that the numbers, CK, that you put out, like 80-20, that those numbers are pushed in different directions at times because people who are reasonable and can have the conversation of bad Bryce or underwhelming Bryce, should I say, in many cases, what I would say, underwhelming Bryce, and this and that, is that they then get pushed by the other side of people who are irrational, which forces them to a more irrational counterpoint each time.
Right.
So the more you say it's all on Bryce to a reasonable person, the more they tend to lean into defending Bryce.
Sure.
And then when you say to a reasonable person that none of it is on Bryce, then they tend to lean into criticizing Bryce more in their counter position. So let's go to Joey the Blind Panther next.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. And you know what it's time to do? Get rid of Brian Burns. What the hell, dude? You're in a contract year. You think you're Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa, whichever one of the Bosas. You think you're an elite pass rusher in the league, but you take plays off and you throw punches that get you disqualified. And now look, Godwin, who hasn't done shit all day, gets a touchdown, and now it's 21-10. You know what? I think you trade Brian Burns for Mike Evans. I don't care if Brian Burns is still in our division. He ain't shit. He's overrated. I mean, he's not Joey Bosa. He's not any of the guys he wants to be paid like, so whatever. We're going to be doing a fire sale anyway, so we could throw in one of our injury-prone corners. So, yeah. Here we go, about to lose game number 11. We're going to be 1-11. Despite the fact that this game being 7-3 all day, we could have won. I mean, we might be able to, but, don't count on it. My blind ass don't see it. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Good call. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the roar. Some things that I was thinking about as that call came about was Mike Evans hit for his, I think today was the 10th season in a row.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
10th season, 10th consecutive 1,000-yard season. I think it's wild too that he did this in 11 games, right? I mean, is that there's still a good amount of football to be played. And I saw another stat is Keenan Allen already has 100 catches. How many does Adam Thielen have?
He's 77, I think. 72.
Keenan Allen, I think, got his 100th catch on the season today.
He did.
That's insane. That's just a lot of damn catches through 11 games.
I don't think it's as impressive when you realize how bad their defense is and how many throws that Herbert's having to make, and the fact that they're like having to essentially play from behind every single game.
Still, man, this dude's old and he's just racking them up, man. I mean, he's on pace for like 180. He's averaging 10 catches a game, man, or more. That's crazy, dude. 10 or about 9 catches a game. He's like on pace for 170 catches this year.
Wild.
So,
Yeah.
140 probably. Mike Evans, I think he's going to be if he doesn't stay with Tampa, which I think we heard a lot of things. I don't know if how that was ever worked out. Those discussions have seemed to fizzle about, or that talk, I guess maybe because it's not around the trade deadline anymore. But he's going to want to go to a team where he's going to get the ball because he has an opportunity to make history and he knows it and he's interested in it. And it's really commendable. Holy cow. Commendable. I mean, that's an impressive feat right there. 10 straight years, 1,000 yards. That's pretty awesome. Let's go to the next call.
End of the first half. Hail Mary pass. We're going to finally see just how far he can chuck it. I mean, surely he's going to have, a 3-man rush? He'll have plenty of time.
Nope.
Just want to see that arm strength. But fucking no. Nope. We're not even going to fucking let you see it. And I don't understand. I'm still fucking dumbfounded that we drafted this kid. I get that we're struggling on offensive line. We're struggling with the receivers. We're struggling with play calling. We're struggling everywhere around him. But how did no one see that he was never going to transition to the NFL? It just looks like he struggles on most of his throws. I'm never going to get over it. So that's all I have to say.
I think saying never is hyperbolic. I just I don't think that, again, when you see Hall of Fame players and coaches and everybody who looks at the Panthers and will all tell you the exact same thing, you legitimately can't put this year and say that Bryce Young is going to be a bust. You legitimately cannot. Like, it is impossible.
I think he's talking about arm strength, though, when he says you don't ever see a throw that looks easy to which I don't think is true. I think I've seen some, but I think this is when I watch Bryce Young pass the ball, CK, or throw the ball, it seems like a finesse throw every time. It seems like if we were playing in the backyard. It's like I'm gonna bank shot it every time, even if I don't have to.
There has yet to
bank shots
be.
are cool.
Bryce Young has, in my opinion, this season yet to make a throw that made me go, "Wow, that right there, that is an NFL type throw."
Sure.
And if they have been few and far between. And so, okay, this is the disconnect. There's a lot of people that they're never going to be on Bryce Young's side until they start to see some of those flashes from Bryce. And look, man, I'm telling you, right now we have 324 people. I'm going to the chat. Other than today, there has never been more Bryce doubt and defamation in this chat room as we've had today, man. It's in the cat calls. It's in the chat room. I don't know. It just seems like this is a tipping point where a lot of the people that were like, Bryce can do no wrong. Everything else has been the problem on this team. Now there's more people that are questioning, well, does Bryce have the arm for this? It was raining sideways at one point, and they seemed pretty intent on running the football. It makes you wonder if they even trust Bryce's arm in inclement weather like that. I think that's still a question. There's a lot of questions right now, and it doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of answers anytime soon.
No, I don't disagree. I do think that you're not seeing zip on the ball. Like, it does feel like it takes forever for the ball to get to where he wants it to be. But I also think that there's no question about his arm strength, right? You know, you can look in college and see he's got the ability to throw the ball down the field. Like, you can't.
Well, I think CK's arm strength isn't just distance all the time. Like,
no,
it seems
right.
like throwing the ball far can, in fact, getting more air under it and some things like that.
Sure.
You're talking about some other throws, and sometimes that's not how you measure the success of it. It's just straight distance. You know, is like those outside kind of those things. Is sometimes it looks like it just is like flipping
you notice how many balls he throws to the sideline, and he's not even giving the receiver a chance to make a jump ball. Like a lot of these passes is just not even giving them the opportunity.
Throw it.
Yeah, or the ball is out late. It's just, I don't know, man. This was the problem that a lot of people had moving up to number one when you didn't have that big time arm talent that was coming along with that number one pick.
Yeah. Still a lot to be, lot to figure out. Let's go to Anthony in Charlotte.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. And the bamboozle of the Christmas spirit. The Carolina Panthers lose another game and everything seems to go wrong. David Egghead Tepper is such a small stepper and it doesn't look like it's going to last. It's going to end any soon. Anyways, this fucking game, dude. And we lost to Baker Mayfield, of course, who did really nothing today. All he did was throw that 75-yard deep ball to Mike Evans. Same old things. Injuries. JC not on Mike Evans. It's like if he's on a pitch count, you don't want him to play. Why is he playing if he's not 100%? Offense is inept. Bryce Young doesn't look good. Pressured. I think he's just mentally scarred from all the pressure he gets, that when there's finally someone open like Miles Sanders on the flat and 4th and 1, he doesn't see him because he's so scared of getting hit again. And it's like, speaking of that, if it's 2-down territory, why aren't you running the ball at least one of those times? You need 1 yard. It's just bad coaching. Everyone on the offensive side of the ball needs to be wiped out of the building. And Scott Fitter, you have to be fired. This team is going to give the Bears the number 1 pick. He better not be back next year, or I can't take this team serious. I will always be a Panthers fan. I know I called in and said like 4 weeks in a row now. I'll always be a Panthers fan, but I am not seriously tuning into next year's season unless there's a competent offensive staff here, or at least a head coach that knows how to rally his guys. Brian Burns got ejected. I mean, shit, who gives a fuck about that guy anymore? He doesn't do anything. Literally nothing. He doesn't show up in the pass, the run game on 3rd down. Tristan Wirfs puts him in a fucking body bag every time he comes across that guy. And half the time he wasn't even lined up on him because Tristan Wirfs plays left tackle now. Anyways, nothing looks good. Fire everyone. Tabor, you're a nice dude. I hope you get a job as a special team coordinator somewhere else after this. Evro, you are doing a great job with what you can work with, dude. You're the only bright spot. Everything else is a fucking joke and a scam, dude. Us Panther fans, we are tired of being a laughingstock. 1-51 after trailing in the end of the third quarter.
I thought I misheard it.
1-51.
Dude,
Which
it's
means this
wild.
team did not win games.
So
unless
wild
we have a
stat.
lead. We were running the ball great. When we were under center, guess what the team does? They said, nope, we're not doing that anymore. We want to do it this way. Makes no sense. Only competent coaches go back to the same thing over and over and over and over again when it works and it works and it works, and a team can't stop you. I don't understand this staff, man. Everything is inept. David Tepper sell the team. Scott Fitter better get his ass out of here and fired. Anthony from Charlotte, keep fucking hoping, man.
Great call, Anthony. Great call.
He even sang for us.
I know.
He even sang for us, man.
The stat, what is it? 1-51 when trailing in the third quarter.
Wild.
When I heard it, I've been working. I've been working on a puzzle, so I was like working on this puzzle when watching the game. And so I wasn't looking. I was kind of looking down and glancing back and forth. And I heard it. I looked up and I was like, "Did he say 150?" He said he must have meant 1-15. Hey, I wasn't ready to go. I wasn't confident to go on the show and be like, "This is the stat," but I swear I thought I heard it, and it is true. It is. That is. We've won one game, and what is that? 24, 48 in 4 seasons. Over 4 seasons of football play where we have trailed at the half.
Yeah.
1 in 4 seasons. By the way, that means we've also in the last 4 seasons have only won how many games? 16. So 15 of those wins came where we were ahead. All right. Let's go to the next call.
Damn it. Damn, that was a good fucking game, man. I am fucking pissed. But at the same time, I'm happy because this looked like a different team. It really did. The play calling to me is still kind of fucked up, man. We went for it on 4th down in the 4th quarter. You should have ran that shit in. Chuba Hubbard played his fucking ass off, y'all. He did. And Mingo balled out, man. He did, man. He did. It's just this fucking play calling that we are fucking doing that makes no damn sense, y'all. I mean, them damn inside linebackers were out for the game. If you notice, Chuba kept running through the fucking middle. We just eat Tampa through the damn middle. I do not know why we did not do that shit on 4th and 1. For real. But besides that, I mean, we eliminated from the damn playoffs. And I really, honestly thought we were going to run the damn table and get up in that bitch, man. But unfortunately, we're not going to the playoffs this year, fellas. There's going to be a new coach and hopefully a new defensive coordinator. Yeah, we got a damn interception through Xavier Woods, the X-Man, but our fucking defense to me fucking sucks, man. Double E, I do not like his damn defense. We have one job, that's to slow down Evans. That one damn touchdown pass that Mayfield threw, the fucking safety went to the damn left, man. He should have stayed right, man. That's what I don't get. I'm like, what the fuck, man? But hey, it was a damn good game. I ain't gonna lie. I really thought we were gonna pull that shit off, man. But Bryce played pretty good too. Threw that fucking interception. I don't know why he didn't scramble that shit. You see what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep
whenever our defense has an opportunity to actually bail us out and help us win the game, they're good enough to keep us close. But whenever we need a stop, the Panthers' defense is never good for it. They just aren't, man. That touchdown to Mike Evans, that was just par for the course, man. Absolutely par for the course. We had no defender that could go with Mike Evans and how old is he now? Almost 29 years old or some shit. Dude, he's just got that grown.
He's got to be older than that. I mean,
Right,
he's had 10 1,000-yard seasons in a row.
He does whatever he wants to our sorry ass DB at core.
All right, let's go to the next call.
All right, y'all. Lou from Fort Myers. I got a confession, man. Got a confession.
He didn't watch the game.
I don't be watching no more. Today was the first game I watched since, the Third Reich. My fault. I should have never said that. But, yeah. And it was a good game. I'm not going to lie. That was a great game. Masterclass by Chuba Hubbard. One of the announcers said it. Looks like the same offense when we had Wilkes. Masterclass. Horrible. Thomas Brown. Horrible. Third down conversions, third down plays, and fourth down plays. We need one damn yard. Put Richie in the fucking fullback and run that motherfucker. We've been running the whole game. Why stop now? Get Sanders out of there. Put Richie in the full and Hubbard in the and we get that one damn yard and we go kick our field goal and we tie it up. Right? Right. But besides that, I just want to say parlay hit. Mike Evans, PrizePicks, stupid as hell. Mike Evans had him at 60-something yards. Over. Slam that shit. And then they had Rashad White. Had me a little heart pounding on my chest, but 57 yards rushing, slam that over. So, yeah. Does it suck losing? Yeah. Was it a close and good game? Hell yeah. I will say the NFL needs to do what soccer does and get a VAR, virtual assistant referee, because some of that Jonathan Mingo first catch that was called as an incompletion, that was a catch. That's a catch in high school, catch in college. That's a catch everywhere.
Yeah, early on.
I don't know if they had under or over, but golly, bro, no, that's a catch. NFL needs VAR, and we should put a petition, or we should just I'm gonna stop coming out with the online threats on y'all channel. I don't want y'all to get taken down. But what happened to Mr. JFK should happen to Goodell. My bad. But yeah, no, I hope y'all have a good night. Great game. Bryce, all right game. A little mental errors, but all around, it was a good game. Can't even be mad at it. Make sure everybody likes and subscribe, and I'll see y'all when y'all live stream, bro. Good night.
I think, and if you listen to the podcast regularly, you will have heard this before. I think that there should be like an orange flag, and not necessarily that it has to be thrown. I think that the NFL should have somebody watching these games that can be on a microphone to a referee and say, look, we can run this, we can make this call more accurate really quickly.
It's logical. Like, I just don't know that there's a reason not to do it outside of just pure stubbornness.
That's what it feels like. They have this fear, CK, that football games are too long still, right? I mean, it's continued effort to shorten these games. But at the same time that they shorten the games, they also are scared about the shortened advertising revenue, because that also gets shortened. And then they don't want to lengthen the game. They want to lengthen the game because it makes the game more popular to viewers, but they don't want to shorten the game. Right. So they want to shorten the game because it makes it more popular to viewers, but they don't want to shorten the game because it loses them money. That's what it is.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I understand wanting to have a certain pace to the game. You want it to go a certain amount of time. I'm assuming that's not just from the perspective of making it a better fan experience than I have it go long, but also from the advertisers and from the stations. There's stations that need to also be able to plan other things other than football as well. So I think there could be a potential complication there. But I mean, honestly, when you're talking about these being game-altering changes, right? I know this is the first quarter; it wasn't that big of a deal. But when you're talking about like a game-altering pass interference, if it's not really a pass interference, like that should be able to, be overturned, right? If you can review, like that's one of the other things I hate about the way that they have things is if they don't throw a flag, but somebody challenges a play, but there was a clear and obvious foul, like you going back and looking at the replay should be like, all right, you know what? They may have gotten the first down, but there was about 4 or 5 different holding penalties we missed in the real time. I just feel like
they're worried about that, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you think about how many times you see a play and how often they actually have penalties,
right?
It makes you wonder.
I think for me is that if anything, I'd like to see it that every flag thrown can be picked up essentially by that quick review. If you said, look, that was, look, I understand it felt like a bang bang play, kind of like that Xavier Woods hit last week, right? Is that when they threw the flag? Now, I know that they weren't throwing it on the hit, but like sometimes these plays have such a visceral reaction. Like you're like, that's got to be a penalty. And I just hope sometimes that they could just be like, hey, pick that flag up. We're glad you threw it. We got it, but we got a better look at it. We're going to, after discussion, we've decided to no foul on the play.
Right.
I don't think that would hurt the game at all, or at least it wouldn't for me. Let's go to the next call.
Gentlemen, it rained last night. It rained heavy, and the golf course was just too wet to play. So I watched the Carolina Panthers this week. And I tell you what, first of all, how about a kudos to fantasy football stud Chuba Hubbard? He's a force, and they should have used him more often. But, gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Let's say if the Carolina Panthers, if they never had Bryce Young and they played Andy Dalton, let's say Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback for the whole season, how many wins do you think our Carolina Panthers would have had this season? How many wins would they have had if Andy Dalton was the starter? I'm going to guess 4 wins. What say you? Bye-bye.
Man, that's tough. Games like today, games against the Titans. I mean, I do feel that we would.
And then turnover games. There's been a couple of games where Bryce has put. Think of the Atlanta. And then there was another Colts and the Colts. So you could say maybe Atlanta, the Colts today, and the Titans are all games that
I would say
potentially are winnable.
Somewhere between 4 and 6.
You think we would have won potentially 6 more games than we have now?
I mean, considering Bryce's
5, he's named 5 more games. Probably.
Bryce's interceptions and pick sixes has led to a lot of losses. Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable.
So right now, your belief is that we would be a 500 team with Andy Dalton.
500? No, we're 1-11 right now.
Right. If you're saying we should have 6 wins, you're saying we're a 500 team.
No, I'm saying somewhere between 3 and 6. I mean, it's tough to know every one of them, but yeah, we would have won more because we wouldn't have had a rookie quarterback giving the ball away at the most inopportune moments.
I feel 3 is my number that I would go with, potentially 4.
I think that, hey, listen, I don't blame you for having that opinion. I don't think that you guys are realizing that, again, this is my belief. This defense may be holding up now, but we have been playing a lot of teams having to play from behind, right? And so even if we did happen to have a better and prolific offense, this defense isn't what you think it is.
That's fair. So what, 1? Would you say 1?
But also, let's be real.
I'd say maybe 2 more.
Andy Dalton has more passing yards on this team than Bryce Young has had in a single game all year. So I still feel like the evidence is more on my side to say, Andy would have been a more competent quarterback than what Bryce would be right now.
There's no evidence you can use that. You can't use that as evidence. Like he threw.
The offense ran better under Andy Dalton than it did Bryce. Yeah, I feel like I can say that.
One game isn't going to prove that.
No, but one game that it did. And I think CK is your counterpoint, just has to be less about trying to battle that point, more about even if you are marginally better, if you score 21 points each week, those other teams are going to score 40 points instead, and so there is that. Look, is this offense, though, I mean, it's hard to think of it being worse with anybody else, but possible. It's like watching paint dry. I turned on the radio. I went to go pick up food at halftime, and I turned on the radio, and Jim Zoki was saying that you have to paint every brushstroke in the portrait to score points. Like, it's just like, we're going to go out here, and to get 3 points, we're going to have to run 12 plays, just to get 3 points. It's just takes 5 quarters to score 21 points for us. Let's go to the next goal.
What's up, C3? It's Tyler from California. Just another disappointing loss. So it was a little bit more fun to watch than it was the week before, but man, we did see a little bit different, a little bit of a different offense. Like, we saw more under center, a little bit more of a power run, more motion, letting Bryce throw it a little bit more, but we're still stuck with the horrible offensive line that we had, obviously, when Frank Wright was doing the playing calls last week. So I thought the drive that they had going on the field was, especially in the first, I think it was the first quarter, was great. And then you try to get too cute and you go away from what you were doing during that drive, running the ball, and you're trying to throw a quick out to Mingo. Why? He hasn't caught a touchdown. He hasn't really done anything all year, and you're going to do that. Shuba Hubbard was doing well in the I formation, and he didn't call any of those plays on the one. Like, you need one damn freaking yard, and you throw it out route to Mingo, and then your 3rd and 1 is another pistol formation. Like, what the fuck? I mean, Thomas Brown, it was better than Frank Wright, but, like, is there common sense in this staff? Like, with Thomas Brown, like, I don't understand. Pistol formation all year hasn't fucking worked, and you call it again. It just doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Give me Ben Johnson or Jim Harbaugh. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This has got to be it's got to be the worst year I've ever seen the Panthers season. The worst, worse than Jim McCloughan. This is horrible. And I don't want to hear any more. I mean, I'm definitely a Bryce supporter. I was a CJ Stroud preferred, during the draft, but we have Bryce Young. It's my quarterback. But today, I don't want to hear anyone making excuses for him. He played like dog shit. He played
not the whole game.
Horrible. You can't really make excuses. I mean, yes, you still have the bad offensive line and poor receivers, but like, dude, like, if it's not there, roll out and throw it away. Don't sit there in the middle of the pocket and wait for it to collapse and take a sack. It's just horrible. This is the first game that I sat back and I'm like, you know what? Even with the proper players around this guy, I don't know if he's it. We'll see. Keep counting, guys.
All right.
There's your trend.
I hate to say this. All right. How many times was Bryce Young sacked today?
I don't know. I know once. I saw it once. I saw it once. Third. Basically, I would feel like almost every 3rd and long.
Right. Because he was throwing the ball away. Like, people are saying, like, he's not throwing the ball. He is. And honestly, when he throws the ball away, people are saying he shouldn't have thrown the ball away. Like, it's just, you can't ask the guy to do what listen, he's got a lot on his plate. He is a rookie. He shouldn't have been taken number 1 at this point in time. Like, I think that's clear at this point. We were not ready for a quarterback. We should not have traded up, and we should have not gone after Bryce Young, right? I think Bryce Young has the potential to be a great quarterback in the NFL. Right now, it's impossible to actually ask anybody to come into this situation and be successful. And so when you look
to be successful in this situation, you have to be extraordinary, and it would.
Exactly.
Cam Newton could have. I don't know. I don't know that his electric play alone could have done enough to make us excited this year.
maybe to make us excited, but I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the season.
Well, just like as his rookie season, it translated in only
Cam would have
4
been better than
wins.
Bryce.
4
I mean,
wins,
I'm not.
but
Hey, listen,
his
I have no
crazy
reason.
running ability, just strength, and just that Superman factor. That's the kind of player it takes to do well on this team right now. Like, as for you to be excited, he has to be able to do it by himself.
Hey, listen, here's what I'll tell you with Cam. I think Cam Newton in this team, if his rookie year, he would have been hurt.
No, Cam. Well,
I'm just saying,
I
like,
miss you, Cam. I miss you, Cam.
listen, at the end of the day, my belief is that Bryce Young isn't as bad as the tape is going to look right now, just because that there is no supporting cast, and this is the most team-oriented game you could ask for. It's part of the reason why Geno Smith can go to the Seahawks and actually look like he's an elite quarterback in this league, because he's able to have a supporting cast. Baker Mayfield goes down to the Bucs, and he doesn't look great, but he looks significantly better than he ever did here at Carolina. You have people go to other places, and they tend to ball out. DJ Moore has done more on the Bears team with a horrible offense than he ever did here at Carolina. CMC has done more in the 49ers uniform than he ever has done for the Carolina Panthers outside of that 1 year, and that's been injury plagued since then. Listen, when you look at the entirety of the situation, I think that this is just a toxic scenario to be in, and it's absolutely horrible for Bryce Young. And there is nobody, if you go and ask anybody who watches film, like legit people who are either former players or anybody along those lines, they're going to tell you it is impossible to look at Bryce and say that this is something that you can predict his future on. It's impossible.
But
and
also,
I'm going to trust. I'm going to trust Hall of Fame quarterbacks as opposed to people in chat who are going to say that Bryce Young's the bust.
Well, I mean, listen, no one said, again, if you're saying that no one is like saying that they're not putting all the blame on Bryce, or that there are people that are saying that Bryce is playing bad, but he's also not the problem. But then it goes vice versa. You can say that Bryce is a problem and he's not a bust either. I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Cam Newton would have a problem pushing the ball downfield like Bryce is, because he does clearly have a problem pushing the ball downfield. He does have a problem seeing open wide receivers when they are open. A lot of those balls that he's throwing out of bounds, it's because he doesn't even have the arm talent to drive the ball in the window. He's not even putting the ball up in the spot where they can even make an attempt on the football. Like, to say that Cam Newton would be hurt in the same offense, that's like kind of wild.
No, I didn't say it would be the exact same thing. I'm saying that the outcome of the season would be the same, and that is we wouldn't make the playoffs and we'd be in square one again as far as trying to rebuild.
Well, you would believe in Cam because he was, like people said, Cam was different, and that's what I meant. The whole reason I brought up Cam was because that's the type of player that can turn chicken shit into chicken salad at times, right? And this is the thing when it comes to Bryce. Is one, I hate to defend. I have to defend myself in the words I'm about to say. Is that I need Bryce Young to work out,
right? I
want him to work out, but each week that has gone by, I can tell you in my heart of hearts, I have not felt this. This is the comment right here that secretly, hold on, let me find it, is the one that, where'd it go? That really, this is the one I'm scared of. I'm scared of talking about this aloud and to myself. And Christian Hunt put up here. So each week that's gone by, this question has not diminished. Or point has not diminished, and that is physical traits are there. When I started the season, I started with the belief that there were other things that Bryce had that could overcome or help him overcome his diminutive stature. And right now, each week that has gone by, I have harder and harder time saying that authentically to myself. And then I continue to wonder, is there ever a moment where everything is perfect enough, where the weapons are there, the offensive line? Is there, if that's what it takes, is Bryce going to require that much perfection? That question also becomes more difficult, or that much of a perfect scenario. That becomes more difficult for me to talk to myself about in my honest heart. So that's the problem.
I tell you, one of the things that I think it might have been, I don't know if it was maybe you, Cody, that brought it up. In order for him to be successful, I think he needs to have an offense like the 49ers. I think he has to have, I do agree. I think, like I said, I think at this point in time, saying he's a bust is a bit of an exaggeration. I've said multiple times that I'm not defending Bryce Young's as far as his play on the field. I'm just defending the fact that people are automatically claiming he's a bust. But if you believe that, here, let me at least ask this just as a yes or no, just across the board, and then I'm going to go to my next point. Cody, do you think Bryce Young is a bust?
No, but I think it's looking like a bust. But
you don't think he's a bust. Okay. Tony, do you think that Bryce Young is a bust?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I say, hold on, can I explain what I mean by that? Is that I think that he might just be a good player. Like he has an opportunity to be a good player in the league.
That's not a bust.
I think so for number one pick.
But no, hold on a second. Okay? I think what he's saying is for moving up to number one.
I just think even first draft. I think first round.
If it doesn't live up to those expectations, if it doesn't live up to those expectations, then it's not. Then yeah, compared to what you want from a number one overall pick, it kind of is a bust.
I think he looks like a third round pick.
Well, I mean, listen, if he turns out to be like a Brock Purdy, I'm fine with whatever comes out of it, right?
Well, but what about a Will Greer?
I don't think that you can put any of that onus on him yet. Like I said, if you want to, that's fine. That's your prerogative. And I have no position to be able to tell you otherwise. But my belief at this point in time is Bryce Young, you can't really say he's a bust. And even if he turns out to be a good quarterback, maybe even not even a top 10 quarterback, but a quarterback that's going to get you to the playoffs. And if you have a well-built team who can get you the Super Bowl, right? If that's what you get, then that's not a bust. A bust, in my opinion, is somebody who's going to be out of the league in 5 years, right? Like when you hear bust in the entire NFL, people call busts people who are like, you know what?
He's a career backup. Would you consider him a bust?
Yes, but that would mean he's not a good quarterback.
Okay, and then the only other thing, and the reason I said yes, CK, is because I don't think I can say it confidence, or that I don't even know if I believe what for me is the number one overall pick. Whether you can say, oh, he didn't choose to be that or not. The expectation for a number one overall pick is bust or awesome. Like there's not a middle ground. You know what I'm saying? So I think for the number one overall pick, if he just turns out to be an okay quarterback that could get you to the playoffs, if he turns into Kirk Cousins is not a bust because he wasn't the number one overall pick. He has excelled. He has exceeded. But if Kirk Cousins was picked number one overall and that's what you got, I don't know if you would be happy.
But my other point that I was going to make is that if we believe that an offense that is similar to the 49ers is going to be something that unlocks what Bryce Young does well, that's going to further my belief that we should go after Brian Johnson as a head coach.
Is that guy that cried in Miami?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say this, though. I do think that Panther fans, they need to kind of lower their expectations for the coach. And maybe that's the wrong term of phrase, not lower your expectations. But if your mindset is already Ben Johnson or bust or Jim Harbaugh or bust, you are setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have to look at a lot of these different coaches and understand that even if you don't get your preferred, there's a number of them out there that have the offensive system that the Panthers would happily have. Hey, real quick, Sky Iced with the $4.99 says, appreciate everything y'all do. Keep up the good work. It's been a long year. Keep pounding. Eric with the $5 says someone could have accidentally built a better roster on Madden than Fitterer when he tries in real life.
I think that's actually really good.
Yep. Eric with another 5 says, build the wall, get Bryce an O-line. I know he doesn't look good, but it doesn't matter who we have if the O-line is trash.
I know that's fair. That's fair.
Yep. And TJ with the $5 says, what would Dalton's record be with CMC and DJ?
Ooh.
Because that's what we gave up for this bullshit.
You know what it is it doesn't matter what his record would be, because if it was better, you would be happy, and if it was worse, you would have the number. You would still have a first round draft pick.
Yep.
Let's go to the next call. Let's see. Have I played this one?
What's going on, family? D.
What's up, D?
Sanford, North Carolina. Shout out to Cody. Shout out to Tony, BK, Greg, Panther Pickle, Muscle Marinara, that effing guy, G baby. Everybody gotta have one of them. Whole C3 family. Daphne showing out on the cat call. Just everybody. I want to say
What up, D?
I'm disappointed in the loss. Another winnable game. But I am optimistic. D of optimism is back. Because for one, we saw Mingo actually look like what maybe we would have wanted to see him look like in the early part of the season. And he was getting targeted. He was making plays, and there were some mistakes. I have faith in Mingo. Welcome to JC Horn and Ito Gross Matos and them coming back. But I really felt like there was times JC just wasn't ready. Maybe there should have been another week. And that daggone Mike Evans, every week, every year, I mean, he finds a way at least one game out the season to terrorize us and have us have nightmares. But screw him. I saw Bryce under a little bit different play calling. You know what I mean? Open it up, bootleg out some things of his strength that showed promise. Chuba Hubbard is the one RB, hands down, just literally hands down. Even though that 4th and 1 play, Miles Sanders was open, we got too cute. We got too cute in the play call. Let's just be real with it. We fought. That's what I like to see. We competed. That's what I wanted to see. Yes, we are officially out of playoff contention, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to see our boys fight. I wanted to see if they were going to come out with their head down or if they would at least try to work. I wanted to see what we was going to implement on the offense, how it would look somewhat different without Frank. And we saw some things. We still got some stupid screen passes that were throwing in the dirt. But I'm more excited in the Mingo getting the action. Even DJ Shark caught one on us. Bryce wasn't the most accurate, but he was slinging some good balls at times out there. But now what we've got to learn with this team now, I think we got excited because we started making some plays in that second half. We just got cute. We should have ran that ball on 4th and 1. Chuba would have got that yard. I understand we got Bayer and them in the middle of the line, but Chuba ran hard.
Let's see. He got half cut right here.
And I'm sorry, D from Sanford. Like I said, we competed. That's what we needed. That's what we wanted. I feel like if we would have gave this effort, the effort that we gave today, we wouldn't have been 1-10 if we could have got this kind of effort offensively throughout the season to a degree. Even though there were some stall points, we saw where there's something to somewhat grow on. Hey, I love you guys. Y'all have a great Sunday. Hey, this is our reality for a while. So buckle up, family. Love you all. Good night.
Good night. Shout out, D.
I did feel, this is the kind of game that I think if we would have played more of these with Frank Reich, that he wouldn't have been fired necessarily. Is that you didn't really feel like everything was bad. You know, you saw a little bit from Mingo. You saw some moments where, but you saw where the team was outmatched. You saw the poor offensive line. You saw that they had bigger, explosive playmakers, or this or that. You know, but you made it a game. You made it a game, and you didn't look at any point just completely out of place. You know, is that you had some moments where you looked like, you made some good defensive plays. You made some but we just didn't have enough of those games or any of those games. This was probably, and this is, I think, why Mr. Strat said this is the best game the team played, is that it was like the least worst bad game they've played. If that's a way of saying it. Let's go to the next call.
Yo, what up, C3? DJ from G Vegas.
What's up, my man?
Everyone's having a great Sunday. Hit that like and subscribe button. It was a rough one for the Panthers. Of course, another loss. What I predicted, Mike Evans didn't go off quite like I expected, but he did have a good game to seal the deal there in the third quarter, if you want to call it that. But boys, what is this? With 1 yard to go, third and one, and then earlier in the game we're on the goal line with 1 yard to go. I mean, damn. At least get a quarterback that can sneak it for a yard and keep your team in the game. I mean, that's the least you could ask of them if we can't run the ball and get a yard on multiple attempts. But that's just it, boys. We couldn't do it. We ran the ball better than we have recently, so that was a positive. Those new pieces on the O-line. But again, they choose not to do it at the end of the game with the game on the line, and all you need is 1 yard with 2 chances to get it. And they let Bryce drop back and, take a couple of steps. He's already from the drop when he gets the ball, and just run around, throw some weak ass shit to the sideline with no oomph on the ball. I mean, I'll give him another chance with a new offense in place. Because they're not going to put it in yet. It's too late in the year. But from what I'm seeing now, he ain't got it. We're going to have to try again because he's got no power on the ball. Even that deep one to Chark, he didn't have enough on it to get it to him. So just little weak out balls. I don't know if he can see across the middle or what, but I don't think he can. Anyway, y'all, enjoy, stay safe, and keep pounding.
We're not going to see a tush push, I guess, with Bryce Young anytime soon, as we say.
Nope.
What if when he dropped back, like we went into that 4th and goal, what if we did like a handoff play, but instead of having a running back, we had like Derek Brown back there who just grabbed him by his shirt and his pants,
just shoved him through.
and threw him over the line.
I'm down. Let's try it.
I mean, it could be a
if
new.
Bryce is ready, I'm down.
You just gotta worry. He's be like, Derek, don't throw him through the field goal post now.
Yeah.
We don't get extra points for Bryce landing in the first row.
Just get the first down, then we'll be all right.
Just throw him into the end zone, not into the stands. Next call.
Hey, you know who the fuck it is. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka! This fucking narrative, relax, trying to push, Bryce Young defenders, the truth defenders, coming down to their senses. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, bruh. We shouldn't be winning no goddamn game. What the fuck are we winning games for, bruh? I want the top pick of the fucking 2nd and the 3rd round, man.
Oh, that's all you want, G?
3 picks in the top 100, bro. The fuck we winning games for? This team's complete ass. Complete ass. I liked how Scott Fitter tried to save his ass. Was trying to save his ass. That dude's not going anywhere. But Shaquille Griffin is a great pickup. The cornerback. Is a great pickup. It was great to see J.C. Horn back and Jeremy Chin back. As of right now, I just want to see the team, continues to, at least the defense, get better. As far as the offense, bro, that game was just a horrible game to watch, bro. I didn't think it was. I seen the forecast was supposed to be rainy, but I didn't know it was going to be a fucking complete monsoon like that. Especially the entire first half. That was pretty trash to watch. Yeah, this team we've just got eliminated from the playoffs. This team is dead in the motherfucking waters. We ain't going nowhere. As of right now, we just need to look to get in town around Bryce Young. And in my opinion, I feel like we just need to work on the offensive line, bro. I would put all the money into the offensive line.
I agree with that.
And then I would go as far as looking and getting weapons for fucking Bryce Young, because this offensive line is still complete ass. As far as coaches, I want to hit that because I guess we only got one fucking call to make. As far as coaches, I still would love to fucking have Jim Harbaugh. That's my number one take.
Sure.
Eric Bieniemy's on my list as well. I guess Ben Johnson. Everyone wants Ben Johnson, and Cody, like mentioned, the offense coordinator from the Houston Texans. I don't know. I don't know about this team. There's just so much. We just got to get through this season. I don't even know if Scott Fitter is going to be around as soon as the off season comes. I hope not. But goddamn, 1-11. 1-11. I've seen dark days. I've been a fan for a long time. But 1-11 is 1-11. It is what it is, boys. Keep your heads up. There's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. At least we don't have to go out and look for a fucking QB. We got our QB1. And once again,
do we know that, G?
Hook them.
Do we know that, G? See, this
no
is the
30
problem.
Touchdowns. That's
this
for
is
sure.
The problem with all of that. He says he doesn't think, he doesn't know about the offensive coordinator for the Texans. Dude, literally, the offensive coordinator for the Texans is a part of the team that wanted Bryce. The Texans wanted Bryce Young, and you don't want that guy who.
No, we don't know if just. I think maybe you could be asking is that if 11 games of him being an offensive coordinator is enough for you to believe he can be an effective head coach. It's not to say it's just like this is he just the Joe Brady of the moment?
I
or
wonder
something
if
like that.
G-Baby still calls Bryce Young the truth.
He did. He talked about it in there, didn't he? Didn't he say
I don't know
truth?
if he said. I don't know if he heard. I heard it today, but I have heard it in the last week or so. Let's go to the next goal.
I don't know how you guys can look at this game and not.
Sorry.
I don't know how you guys can look at this game and not say that the trajectory is starting to change because of the changing and to have Tabor come as head coach. Yeah. I mean, we did lose by 3. Bryce did kind of suck there for like half the game. He made some great throws here and there. But the thing is, it's going to take a second for Tabor's changing some stuff around as far as reigniting confidence in some people. You can see it in the way he's interacting with them. And the coaches and the players. And that kind of catches on, and it takes a second. It's not immediate. He only had 4 days this week to get this thing kind of kicked off. So I think considering all of the variables that we actually did rather well today. And I think that we'll go into probably, I would say we'll win at least 2 more games. We have to play the Bucs at home, I'm pretty sure. I think at home, you can't get a +3 on that one. I would say, things could shift around. Just be patient on this part. I know you've been patient for a couple years, but Tabor is clearly helping this team find themselves, and they've all been lost for a while, and it's going to take them a second to kind of bounce back and get right and have that confidence. It's got to build over time. So that's why today was a huge deal, because it's finally turning the ship around to face the right direction.
That's Mr. Stratz. Is I think look is I don't know if I saw anything necessarily though. Is okay, yes, I guess he got it inching in the right direction.
My thing is this: when you look at this team, I don't see that much of a different team. And I think what makes it worse is that if there was any game that the Panthers were going to be able to get a W, I think it should have been today. Like this
That's what
offense,
we said last week. That's what we said against
yeah.
the
So I
Bears.
mean,
That's what we
I
said
don't
against.
necessarily know what part says, okay, this is a team that's growing and getting better. Again, it's like
They didn't play
I
worse
almost,
today. How about
no,
that? They didn't play worse
They didn't
than
play
when
worse, but I mean, I think
they had a
all right,
little fight in them too.
if
I
you
would say
consider
that
Chuba
literally, Brian
Hubbard,
Burns got in a fight.
if you consider Chuba Hubbard going over 100 rushing yards, maybe that's something you can hang your hat on. Though, I just don't know if any of the questions that we have about this offense have been answered in a meaningful way. I just don't. I'm happy that someone feels better about the team and thinks that we're on the right track or doing something different. But it's also kind of like we know Tabor is not going to be the head coach next year. So it's like even if we do see some progression, nothing from this team the way it is going to be the same next year. They're going to try and revamp this entire offense and hope that it looks better.
All right, let's go back to the Colts. Come on, fat finger Tony.
Yo, it's Lou from Fort Myers, and this is my second call. Go listen to the first one, but hey, fun fact for today. I know we're talking and I'm watching the stream, right? It's crazy how life spins. Cause how many years I've been out of high school? 6 years ago, I was playing against Devin Tompkins because he went to Dunbar High School. He went to Fort Myers, and it's like crazy watching Devin Tompkins. And, sometimes I'll shoot him a shout on Instagram or whatever. But it's crazy that how some people are in the NFL. And it's like watching like one of the people that I played against and, went to high school with, but know of in the NFL. It's crazy. Yeah, we should have definitely picked him up. Definitely in the 5th round over Mingo. Definitely would have been a better utility. But
it's crazy, man.
Bad
it's
call.
Crazy.
Bad cold today.
All right, Matt. Thanks for the call. Let's keep going. This is Nick.
Good evening, boys. It's Nick from Seattle here. First of all, thank you to everyone for the support from my call last week. I was very upset and passionate, so that's easy to speak to. After this game today, boys, I mean, the one positive is at least we could stop talking about, well, we're not eliminated from the playoffs yet because we out that bitch. We're done with the playoffs. And now it's like, well, how did we get ourselves here? It's because for the last 5 years, we've been putting a Band-Aid over a rebuild. We keep saying, no, we're ready to win now. And then the best we came up with was 6 games won with Steve Wilkes. We've been half-assing these rebuilds for years, and that's why we haven't actually done it. We need to dump everything. Everything needs to go. Every not stapled down asset. So basically, not Bryce, because we gave up too much to get him. Not Derek Brown. Other than that, everybody. Trade him for assets. All the coaches, all the scouts, everybody needs to go. Jim Harbaugh or Bill Belichick would be the only choice to come in for coach because they're going to not take Tepper's shit. They're going to tell him straight up from the beginning, look, stay out of my way or I'm not doing this, period. And that would be the end of it. That's the only way we're going to get out of this is to have a head coach who tells Tepper, leave me alone and get out of here. That's all I'm hoping for. Who do you guys want to see as coach? Because Ben John, I'm tired of this whole we need an offensive-minded coach. We've had 2 of those, and that didn't work out so well. Frank Reich was supposedly his quarterback whisperer, and look at where we are now. We need a leader of men. We need someone who can come in and inspire these people, get the culture back to Carolina, get the team's heart back in the game, and then I think we'll be moving in a positive direction. After today, boys, it was a mess. Like, today was just a top-to-bottom embarrassment, and I'm ready for something new. Hope you gentlemen have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Keep pounding. I'll talk to y'all on Tuesday.
Keep pounding.
I'm so against Bill Belichick.
Oh, I agree. I agree. We don't need another rule.
Him as what his career has done, and I do agree with the point too. Is that his personality would like David? He's a guy that like would fucking drive David Tepper bananas.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love that though. He deserves it.
He'd be like, all right, Monday meeting, and like Bill Belichick would just walk in and said met, and then walked out. Like,
yeah.
Harbaugh,
he would be the only person.
Harbaugh brings a little bit of both, offensive person and can like kind of bristly personality. People like Harbaugh. A lot of people like the students like Harbaugh a lot. They're like he's like a quirky old man that just kind of always stopping by and say hello and stuff like this. And he seems if anything, I don't care. You can always say there's always some shit going on with Jim Harbaugh wherever he's at or whatever's going down. But you can't deny that this motherfucker has been success. He made Stanford when into who they were, right? Wasn't he Stanford like a long time ago? Like
yeah,
I don't remember.
The coach. Harbaugh was the coach at Stanford.
Yeah, and then he had the 49ers who were a mess. He got them right and made them into really kind of what you would see as a contender year and out. You know, it's kind of like I feel like that's when the process of them getting back on the right track started with him, and then Michigan too. So he's had some success. All right, let's go to the next call.
Yo, what up, C3? Laid the prize picks on burn on Bryce Young under 190 passing. Fucking lots to make money on that one.
I was a dummy and said more.
I don't know, man. I really don't get depressed no more when I watch these games. Because I know we're gonna lose. I know Bryce Young sucks. I know the fucking O-line sucks. So I'm actually kind of glad I seen him play under center today, though. So he can do that. He looked good actually when he was playing under center. So they should run that more often than the ugly ass shotgun pistol that they be running, and running the ball out of shotgun on third down, or fucking having Bryce roll out on third down, another pass on fourth down. It's fucking whack. So I don't know. I'm gonna say that this year was fucked up, and hopefully we can trade the whole team, everybody except for Bryce, and then maybe we can get a good team around him, and we can get the all-star team around him, and he can win finally. Later, guys.
All right, thanks for the call. Let's make sure you use the promo code C3 if you go to PrizePicks and try to win that money. Al the Sailor says go less than when it comes to Bryce Young.
What's up, C3? It's Marcy from PA. This is my first call. I've been listening for like 2 years now.
Nice, thank you.
But it's been 2 years strong. I love what y'all are doing. Keep doing what you're doing. I went on YouTube and I just looked at y'all. I just looked up a Panthers podcast and I found y'all, and I've been locked in ever since.
Nice.
With that being said, though, we suck. Like today was the first game I actually thought we were going to win, but I thought we were looking good without Reich, and we just beat ourselves. It's just so frustrating. Bryce threw a dumb pick at the end of the game, but I didn't think we looked too bad. But our receivers just suck. Like where do we even go from here? Like I don't know. Like do we sign every receiver available in the offseason? Like T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Hollywood Brown. Like where do we go? And real quick before I go, it's funny because last year Tony said that Chuba Hubbard was the worst player on the offense, and I was 100% agreement. Like I was agreeing with him 100%, and now shit, he's my favorite offensive player.
He's the best player on offense now.
Let me know what y'all think.
Yeah, he is the best player on offense right now. And to be honest, Chuba has played the way that a lot of people said he could play. You know, over the last couple, he's gotten better each week too. That's what I would say. He's gotten better each week, and for him, kudos to him for not only having a kind of a slow start or less than impressive start to his career where people like me continue to just not care about him and actively dislike him. He's now weathered a coaching staff change through some, like, he's been a guy that was selected by Matt Rule, whether an interim coach, then a coach that was fired, then a new interim coach, and he's continued to get better under those circumstances without the most opportunities all the time. And today, I mean, he's produced on limited opportunities, and today he got 25 touches, the most probably he's gotten in his career, honestly, I would think, and he did a lot with the moment. So kudos to him for that. But the scary part about this team, to answer your question, is where do we go from here? Is like that future point or destination or chart, that path is so uncertain. We're like at a crossroads where there's a million different, or there's 4 or 5 different pathways, and we don't trust the sign. The sign has been turned and things are swiveling, and you don't know which road to take to get to where you're headed. And that's why I think the most important decision is to bring in a GM. You need a GM that you want to do the things that you think Jim Harbaugh could do. And that's resist David Tepper's constant meddling. Go talk to him, run everything up the chain of command to him, make him feel good, but go in there and say, this is the way it's going to be, and fight for what you, and you have a guy that's, until we get a GM that is telling me why the coach is the coach to believe in, until we get a GM that can tell us why we fired this last coach who was just hired and why we believe that it was the proper time, even though it was just 11 game seasons into moving forward, and how we're going to try to not go through this again in just 8 more months or 3 more months. Until you have a guy that's the captain of a ship. We need a captain. Oh, captain, my captain. Oh, captain, my captain. We need a captain. And the captain doesn't do all the shit on the boat. He needs a guy like Bryce. He needs a guy like this. But his ass is responsible for the welfare of that ship. We don't need, think of this. David Tepper, you're the owner at the Merchant House in Britain. We need a captain that's going to sail this ship to the Americas, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, I just want to say I'm proud of Chuba. Chuba, man. I've been one of his biggest defenders. And that man's running his ass off, man. And by the way, I think now we can say way better than Cameron Artist Payne, dude.
I still don't know.
Next call.
Let's go.
Hey guys, what do y'all think the chances are that we go ahead and after the year just go ahead and punt on this whole Bryce Young thing, trade for a second, third round pick, let Andy start next year, go ahead and tank, go get Shadur Sanders or whoever, Quinn Ewers, someone else, and just start all over, because I don't think it's going to work with him, and really I think they've already ruined him. Thanks, guys. Love the podcast. Bye.
Appreciate you, man. A lot of people.
I don't know if it's going to be a logical request to trade a guy away that you're going to be. If you trade him for a second for this upcoming draft, you got to keep in mind we're literally giving away our first round draft pick this year already. So,
I think it's really, are you going to give him the Tua treatment, CK, right? And the Tua treatment was a guy that you believed in less than after his first season. You put didn't they go with another veteran to his second season?
Yeah, Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
there were times throughout but that might have been the first season. But yeah, they had a veteran quarterback. That's what you signed those.
Yeah, they got Teddy. They brought Teddy in or something like that.
And how about this? Have y'all been seeing the rumors that I believe Diana Rossini put out that there were coaches that wanted to bench Bryce after week 5? And I wonder who those coaches were, because it doesn't seem to me that it was Frank Reich, because he was the head coach. If he wanted to bench Bryce, he could have benched him.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just kind of fascinating that there probably is a group, or there is a constituency of coaches or maybe front office people in that building that also want to bench Bryce to save him for the future, to put something better around him and to maybe see if we can get something going with Andy Dalton.
I don't think
wild.
there's a chance though that I don't think there's a chance this is a move, like a Josh Rosen scenario. I just can't see that. Is a talk about the narrative that would then and ultimately be attached to David Tepper forever. Talk about you thinking he calling him impatient now. Imagine trading up to the number 1 pick and then after a season going, you know what? We got this fucking wrong. That would be wild. I don't see it. I think it's an impossibility is what I would say. Next call.
Hey, I wanted to hear more about CK's theory on the long play from David Tepper. He mentioned it, I think, on Tuesday, but didn't really dive deep into it. And I'm really curious to hear what he has to say on each theory. I love conspiracy theories, but here's my thought. I think that there's no coach that really wants to coach his team, but there's going to be a lot that think they have nothing to lose because even if they fail, everyone's going to think it was Tepper's problem. So to kind of combat that, the best thing I think Tepper can do is find someone who can do it and announce that they're going to have full control of the team. But someone like a Harbaugh, if he'd be willing to come here, which I doubt. I don't know. I think he's got to say and announce something that relieves everyone's opinions on him being too much of a meddler, so that he can kind of give him time, and hopefully it's someone who can get the job done.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and take that since I was the first part of that whole thing. So my theory, again, tinfoil hat, and I still stand on this hill, is when you went through the hiring process this past season, off season, for those who are not hearing this hearing this for the first time, I should say, that you had multiple of the top candidates pull out of the race, right? There were some you were never really in the race to even get. Sean Payton, as an example. And so the remaining people on the list that you could have possibly hired were Evero, Frank Reich, and Steve Wilkes. You hire anybody other than Frank Reich, you have to give them a minimum of 3 years, period. And if you aren't 100% on Evero or Steve Wilkes as the guy, then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage because now you're stuck to a guy you weren't 100% sold on for 3 years. However, when you think about Reich already coming off of a disappointing outing with the Colts, firing him after one season isn't one of those things that's going to be, it'll raise some eyebrows and they're going to have some talking points, but it's not going to raise the type of eyebrows it would be if you fired Steve Wilkes after one season again. And so that's my theory, is Frank Reich was hired as with this potential outcome, because I think this was a win-win, but at the same time a lose-lose for David Tepper. It's a win-win in the aspect of if Frank Reich does a good job, well, he's got a coach that's doing what he wants. If he does a bad job, he doesn't have to hold on to him for 3 years.
Yep.
Interesting one too, and one that is working a little bit in his favor now as we went through that, and maybe a reason for moving on from Frank Reich as fast as they did. I also saw a story where they're talking about I think this was a Jonathan Jones story, maybe something that was talking about what the Panthers need to learn for the rest of the season. They said the staff was too big. That the Reich staff was too big. Now it's
Really?
crazy. It's like, how do you have a bigger staff? Who knows?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. They have, you had Caldwell and you had Capers in the background.
Yeah, it's just like you got these guys that are just there for the lunch.
Right. Yeah, it didn't really make a tremendous
coffee at Bojangles.
Like I really, and I think we still have never really gotten a clear understanding as to what their jobs are. Prior to the Frank firing, is we didn't know, like, it was a consultant, Caldwell was there to provide support. We don't know what their jobs really were. And so that'll be interesting to find out at some point in history, in the future, for the history of the Panthers, what they really did.
All right. Next call.
Hey, Paisans, Muscles here. Wasn't gonna call him just because of fucking laryngitis. You know, fucking Vafangul to the fucking cocksucker who gave me this fucking shit. I couldn't scream at the TV, couldn't do nothing. Anyway, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet and leave the juicy shit for Tuesday's show. I'll let everybody else dump on the fucking team, but never again, as Bryce Young is our quarterback, never again will you wear all blue uniforms. All right, the memes speak for themselves. The guy's a fucking smurf in that fucking getup, bro. But now we're giving some lift for some shit because holy shit, he looked like fucking Papa Smurf out there, bro. Bobblehead Jones all fucking blue and shit. Fucking, I'm gonna steal Anthony shit. That's a good gimmick, Anthony, by the way. You should keep that one. All right, boys. I'll talk to you Tuesday.
What did he say? My daughter came in at the last part. What was the gimmick?
They said the like Anthony says.
All right, let's see this.
My son, get better,
I think this is a prank call.
He did look like a Smurf.
Cody, I missed you last night. You never called me back. I miss you, bro.
What?
Look at this. This is a prank call. He says, I can read the transcript. It says, Tony, I miss you last night. You will be pregnant. That's what the transcript says. Oh, whatever.
Oh, no.
Next call.
Hey, what's up, C3? It's your boy Sizzle God calling from Colorado.
What
Man,
up?
I'm not going to take too much of you guys' time, but real quick, at some point with our team, common sense is going to have to kick in regards to roster billing and play calling. When you bring in a small quarterback, you're already limiting yourself in certain play calls and short yardage situations. You're not sneaking Bryce Young. You don't have mauler, grinder running backs. So that's something you have to address. You have to get you a Taysom Hill type or somebody that can get those short yards in certain situations. You can't get in a situation when you're in 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, and you can't convert. You don't have to pass convert. Old school football, 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, and 4-down territory, we're running ball 3 times. We don't have that. You're going to have to get you a Taysom Hill type shit. Hell, a Deontay Foreman type player that can run that ball and get that short yardage. We out here doing things with a quarterback who's struggling. Not all his fault, but he's struggling. Take that pressure off of him, and let's get back to the X's and the O's of football, man. We're missing that. This play calling, come on. We got to do better. We have to do better, and that goes to roster building, roster management, and just understanding. We bring Bryce in. Let's get somebody here that can help him and support him. You know, when it gets in those situations, you see teams. Hey, we don't have the capability to even do the push tush like the Eagles do. Come on, man. Common sense football has to come back to the Carolinas. That's all I got to say. Hey, appreciate everything you guys do. Hey, keep doing what you're doing. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for the words of encouragement. Good
Pounded,
call.
man.
Good call. Let's last two.
What's up, family? This is D from Sanford again.
What up, D?
At least when we was talking about, they're talking about the coaches or whatever. The tricky slope that I'm messed up at right now is the 2 candidates that can deal with Tepper and actually strong on Tepper are the 2 gentlemen that I care not to want. And that's Belichick and Harbaugh. Now, hear me out. The reason why I don't want Belichick is because, this guy here, he was able to convince Robert Kraft of a lot of stuff, and he had a lot of control, and he had his time. But let's be quite honest. Bill is not no spring chicken at all. Not a youngin' at all.
Yeah, too old for me.
My fear would be that he would be with us for a year, 2, maybe 3 years, kind of get us in the right direction, and then we'd be back where we're at now. As far as Harbaugh, let's be quite honest. as soon as the grass gets greener or a situation isn't what he wanted to be, he's known to be a flight risk. I think both coaches have done exceptional in the NFL, and Harbaugh also did in college. But at the end of the day, these two guys have the personality to handle a Tepper and still get what they need to win. But it's just two unique circumstances of where, one, I just feel like he's at an age that it doesn't benefit us in such a rebuild. And then second of all, Harbaugh, like I said, he could jump ship quick. I just wanted y'all thoughts. All right, I'm out. Love all y'all.
I think you hit the nail on the head, is that Bill Belichick, to me, I don't want him as that person for us right now, but not because I don't respect his work and accomplishments as a head coach. Not do I think that he isn't the greatest. So it's not a slight that I don't want him. It's just about his age. And to be honest, is that he hasn't had the success without Tom Brady that he was able to have. And, is that he would be awesome in these press conferences. I fucking love him.
Yeah, but that would be great. But he hasn't been a good GM. And you ask any Patriots fan, they'll tell you that for sure. I don't even think he's been okay. What players have they hit on? Like they're not a team that's lately known for drafting well. That's a part of the reason why that Patriots team looks so bad right now. I tell you what, I do agree with D that if anyone's going to have enough cojones to tell David Tepper no and say, no, that's not what we're doing, it's going to be somebody like Bill Belichick and Jim Harbaugh being like, look, Mr. Tepper, I know you made a lot of money. Yeah, I know you made a lot of money coming from the background that you came from, but I promise you, you don't have even half of the football knowledge that I do. This is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect representation of a coach that I think would work as a antithesis to David Tepper, if you will. I don't think that's, unfortunately, I think the Bill Belichick thing, my opinion on that matter is I think that he is not only his age, but I really don't think he's coaching well in today's league.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's able to keep, again, this is no slight on him. What he's accomplished is incredible. I just don't know that he's going to be able to be a successful coach when you have teams like, the Chiefs, right? Now, to be fair, he does draft well when it comes to the defense. It's just offensively, he's one of the worst coaches to ever draft.
Terrible in the offensive side. And you're right, CK, is the last 4 or 5 years for him have been just weird with the assistant coaches too. It's like the Joe Judge, the Matt Patrick, and all of that.
Oh yeah, when you see them leave his coaching tree, nobody succeeds leaving his coaching tree.
Yeah.
Which tells you everything I think you need to know about what he is. And I think he, unfortunately, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but when you look at the history of the Patriots, it's Tom Brady has been the sole catalyst that seems to have propelled them into their dynasty.
I lied. There's one more call after this one.
Yo, it's White Chocolate. Listen, Tepper, do the right thing. Go hire Jim Harbaugh. Let him have control or whatever.
Fine with that.
Just get the fuck out of the way. That's all I really have to say. And also to Cody, God, you suck at fantasy football. I've never seen somebody.
I haven't even logged into that bitch in 3 weeks. What are you talking about?
He's probably doing bad. He's like, I'm tanking.
Yeah.
I'm tanking. I'm ready for that Caleb Williams pick.
Bye.
All right. Last call.
It's a BC Dog 1983.
There he is.
What up, brother?
Man, Frank White being fired, not surprised. Didn't even make it through the whole goddamn season. And then he got fired at the same time. Goddamn, Matt Rule got fired last year, if you can remember. We ain't got nowhere to go up from here, man. We done traded away McCaffrey, DJ Moore, especially DJ Moore. And the number one pick, like, man, we fucked, man. So we stuck with this goddamn midget for one more goddamn year. Unless we can got them bring Cam back, man. I'd rather have Cam Newton, man. Anything better than this motherfucker, man. I remember people talking about goddamn Bryce Young was gonna be better than Cam Newton, all this bullshit. You know, it was a bunch of bullshit, man. And what happened to the goddamn all-star coaching staff? I told y'all, man, Frank White won up, but it goddamn recycle white head coach. Goddamn it. Word up. This is Dog Banks here, A3 TV. Whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the motherfucking like button. Make sure you got that subscribe to the goddamn great content. They go live goddamn every Tuesday. Goddamn they got the free for all goddamn every Friday night. Anybody got that can come in and join in. Do you know they got the game recap, you know, live after the game. You can call in, leave a message, you know. But shout out to the whole C3 podcast, the longest running podcast and goddamn Carolina Panthers history. You know what I'm saying? Word up.
Word up. Appreciate you, C.
Word up.
All right, thanks.
Yeah,
Let's see. Oh, there's more.
I don't hope, man. I told y'all motherfuckers, man, Bryce Young is too goddamn little. He's too fucking little. He can't throw no goddamn ball. See, he can't do shit in the fucking rain. And he got that inclement rudder. I told you motherfuckers. Goddamn what translates to the NFL. Kyler Murray little, but Kyler Murray got them quick. He can goddamn run. And he got them to throw the ball. Man, Bryce Young slow and he can't throw the goddamn ball. What the fuck you goddamn gonna do? Not a goddamn thing. Everybody keep making up these fucking excuses, man. He ain't it. Goddamn, even Tua got a little bit of arm on him. He can barely get the ball to Tyreek Hill.
Tua showed off that arm
he
today.
He got a damn Tua arm. Shit.
Now that was the question: is his
Bryce
arm
Young
strength?
got to throw the ball out of bounds.
His arm strength less than to here. Actually, another call just came in.
Hey boys, thanks for doing this podcast and giving everybody a place to vent and emote.
Appreciate
this team
you, man.
is so damn frustrating. I don't even know where to begin. I do think in the off season, Pepper's first order of business is to overhaul the damn scouting department. To me, scouting is as important as head coach and a coaching staff. And if he wants to spend money, and Pepper's already going to be paying $100 million to Matt Rule and Frank to sit at home for the next couple of years, why not spend that $100 million, hell, $200 million on overhauling your scouting department, to where it can be us one day that sees a fifth round, a sixth round, a seventh rounder having a great year. Like when I look at broadcasts of all these other games, and I constantly hear that a fifth rounder having a heck of a year this year is going to be up for, you know, this award or that award, and that never seems to happen to us. Hell, even for our first and second round picks, not lately anyway. Fitterer really screwed it when he didn't trade Burns. We had a chance for not just 2 first rounders. Everybody remembers the 2 first rounders, but I think it was 2 first rounders and a third we could have had for this guy that now seems to have mentally checked out. And he was overrated to begin with. We should have dealt him. And as far as last thing I'll say is, in my opinion, I had this opinion several weeks ago, they should bench Young to see what Dalton can do with his offense. But they're afraid to, because if Dalton wins 3 or 4 games, God forbid, then we'll know that the problem is almost exclusively Bryce's development. So, but they won't do that, I'm sure. Instead, they'll let this kid get more emotionally, withdrawn and fragile. I hope that doesn't happen.
Scarred, battered, beaten.
So frustrating. Anyway, keep at it, boys. Thanks.
That was a great call.
Hey man, we had a bunch of calls tonight that were some first time callers, man. We appreciate y'all continuing to be a part of the show and letting your voice be heard, man. We love hearing from y'all. And I mean, I think we've heard a little bit of everything in the calls tonight, Tony, that there's a lot of people that are still confident that maybe one day Bryce can turn this around. Then there's a lot of people that today and the past few weeks has been the turning point in their expectations for Bryce, the team, just how we're going to build this team in general. A lot of uncertainty in Panther Nation.
Yeah. And sadly, that uncertainty, if we just had, we don't need a lot. I think that's for the people that are on the fence with Bryce. That's harder and harder each week is like, you're just asking for one game. You're asking for one game where Bryce Young is the David Dotto Ball Out Award. But we have not gotten that yet. David Dotto Ball Out Award by the C3 Panthers Podcast goes to the player of the game. We each get to select someone that we believed balls out, much like David Dotto does. My David Dotto, I'm going to give it to Chuba.
Yeah,
I'm going to steal it. I got to do that. But I head you off before you give me shit about not doing it.
Damn you.
Chuba Hubbard, over 100-yard, first 100-yard rusher of the season for the Carolina Panthers. Chuba Hubbard, way to David Dotto ball out.
I am putting my David Dotto ball out on Chris Tabor, just because I like the fact that he showed some excitement on the sideline and he seemed like he wanted to coach his team to a victory today.
I'm going to put mine on Dante Jackson, who actually played a really good game today.
Yeah, made a couple of important plays, too.
Yeah, important plays. He got away with a pretty I wouldn't say he got away with a pass interference, but that was most of the time that's going to be called against us. Luckily, we got lucky on that one. But Dante Jackson, as much shit as I normally give him, he came out and he did his thing today.
Runner-up for me, Jonathan Mingo, for having his best game as a rookie this year. Finally saw some positive things out of him, I think. And now for what was formerly known as the Towel of Shame Award, moving on. Last week it was floated out that it should be this fucking guy. But I think I want to go with Tony's Jabronis. The Tony Jabroni Award goes to Brian Burns for losing his cool in a time and losing out throughout the season. Also, no, Tony's Jabroni Award goes to whoever that left guard was that fault started where nobody else moved and he just like fell across the line. That guy, whoever the fuck that left guard was today, Tony's Jabroni.
So Cody's Jabroni will be Thomas Brown for never running or not running the ball on 3rd and 1 when you need a yard, then not doing it on 4th and 1 when you need a yard, and you've been running the football all day. You had a 100-yard rusher, Thomas Brown. You're a jabroni.
Nice, well done.
My Tony Jabroni. Maybe I should save this for Tuesday, but as a nice but I'm gonna. It's not even having anything to do with our game. It's that guy, the sideline employee that had his leg just completely ripped off by Alvin Kamara. Did you see this?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, no. All right, hold on. I gotta show this.
Yeah, if you have it, we have to see this. I want to see it now.
Bro, it is wild. Hold on 1 second.
It mangled them, like really fucked them up.
Oh yeah. Just wait a second. Hold on. You're gonna see. Everybody in chat probably knows what I'm talking about. Let me go. Hold on. I think I found it here this way a little easier.
Oh, this is making me nervous.
Oh yeah, somebody said close your eyes.
It wasn't in the script. Real see.
All right, let me see. Present. Share screen. Chrome tab, or do I have to share a window?
Do a Chrome tab.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just choose the tab that you want.
All right, you guys seeing this?
Yes.
Yeah, do the oh boy. Okay.
Runs the speed option to Kamara, made the first man miss and got close to the first down. Derek Barnes.
Oh no.
Oh, that's broke at the knee.
Dude, that was...
You don't want to break your leg at the knee.
Oh my god.
You could just see it just like
Oh, was he screaming in pain?
Oh, yeah.
too?
Oh, yeah. He was 100%, dude.
Oh, dude.
God.
Oh, that's.
So who's the
Oh,
jabroni?
wow.
Him?
Yeah, that dude. That dude
Dang.
is
Dang.
listen, you gotta have some
You don't hold
juke.
no punches, do you?
You gotta have
Jabroni.
you gotta have some juke skills if you're gonna be standing on the sidelines holding those signs. You know what I mean?
Cody CK hit him with the jabroni and added insult to injury there. All right. That's the C3 Panthers post-game show brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday, well, not where every, this is after every game. We get through it together. Right now, it's been therapy. For the last 5 years, it's been therapy. And I go ahead and assume that we will be speaking a lot to each other under very emotional circumstances for weeks and weeks and years to come as we continue to work through this trauma that we experience as Carolina Panther fans and hope to find a continued way to find a way out of this and then into better ground, more optimistic days, or just some success to help us along. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. We're here on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Longest running Panthers podcast. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, like Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, wherever that may be. Support our sponsors, as in PrizePicks, using the promo code C3, and support my co-host here, Cody Lack. How can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Find all my written work on drafttech.com. And every Friday at 7 p.m. where you can join the Friday free-for-all and be a part of the action.
CK?
You can find me on the Xverse at Codizzle Allen. And then, of course, here Tuesday as your resident Bryce Young defender.
Wonderful stuff. We'll see you guys Tuesday night. And until then, Cody, take us out of here.
C3 Panther Nation, keep pounding.